Hey everyone, Miss Moldo here. So I am actually in a very mountainous place in the United States. I can't take credit for taking this picture, but I was standing right here almost a couple years ago now. Anybody know where this is? Yeah, these behind me are the Rocky Mountains of Colorado. So you can see there's some snow here, and this was in August that this happened. So there was snow. There's almost always snow here. It was absolutely beautiful. So when this coronavirus stuff is done, I highly suggest you head out there. But otherwise, you can keep taking a look at my pictures and where I am. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about a certain type of graph, which is called a line plot graph. So line plot graphs, I know many of you have used because I taught you some of them back in second grade, but it's always a good time to review and kind of deepen our knowledge of them. So a line plot graph is a type of graph that shows the spread of data using X's or dots above a number line. Okay, so it involves a number line, it involves X's and dots, and it's a certain type of graph to show data. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how one is created. And we're going to start with whole numbers today. Tomorrow you'll get into using fractions because that's something we've been working a lot on. But we're going to work with whole numbers to start things off nice and easy. So here's an example of some data that somebody may give you. So this is the amount of rain Michigan received each day in April in 2019 in inches. Okay, so we have 2, 3, 2, 2, 4, 5, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2. So those are like different days. So maybe this was like April 2nd, and this was April 5th, and April 6th, and April 8th. Those are all the different types or amounts of rain that was given on different days of April. So to create a line plot graph, first thing you need is a number line. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a number line down here at the bottom, just like so. Okay, and number lines, you want to keep your dashes as equal as possible. So you want the distance between one line and another, just like a ruler, see how it's all connecting, to be about the same distance going across. Okay, now you can start wherever you want to on your number line. You do not have to have 0 to start here. If I wanted to, since my first data point is 1, that's the lowest number that I have, I can start with 1 there. If my lowest data point on here was 100, I can start 100 here. Number lines go on and on forever, both directions. So you can start wherever you'd like to, okay? So I'm gonna put a 1 here, and then again, number lines go in order. So I can't just go 1 and then 3 and then 2 and then 4. Nope, that's not how it works. So number lines have to go in order. So whatever you pick as your distance between one thing and another, you gotta stick with. So if this distance here is one whole number, that means I've got to put a 2 here, and a 3, a 4, a 5, and 6. Now, I don't even have to make it all the way to 6 because do I have a 6 here as my point? No. So I could potentially just go like this here. Okay. Now, something we talked about with graphing is you have to label. So what do these numbers down here represent? Well, go back to your question. The amount of rain in Michigan received each day in April 2019 in what? What are these numbers? They are inches. So don't forget to label down at the bottom what these numbers represent. And you could say inches. We could say inches of rain. You could even say inches of rain in Michigan in April 2019. That works too. Okay. So now what you're going to do is you're basically going to like plot these points in a way. So you have 2 options. You can use X's or you can use dots. You decide, but stick with one. Okay. So basically I'm going to go through each one of these lines here and I'm going to plot that point. Let's use X's for this time. So I'm going to put an X above the 2. That's showing that one of those days was 2 inches, and then cross it out as you go. 3, I'm going to put an X above, cross it out. I have another 2. So what am I going to do? I'm going to put another X. This shows that there were 2 days that there was 2 inches of rain. Another 2, another X. 4, 5, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so there we go. This right here is my line plot graph, and I can erase this here just so you guys can see it a little bit better. Okay, so this is showing the inches of rain. So this is how many days in April that Michigan had 2 inches of rain. So I would say there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in April that had 2 inches of rain. Only 1 day in April had 1 inch. 3 days in April had 3 inches. 1 day in April had 4, and 1 also had 5. Okay, so that's the beginnings of a line plot graph. So let's try one more together before I have you guys try some also on your own. All right, so here's our last one. So what I did was I called up a bunch of my friends and I just asked them, what's your shoe size? So here's what they told me. I had somebody tell me 12, 11, 10, 12, 10, 6, 12, 13, 10. Lucky for us, everything's a whole number, so that was nice. So what you do first is you draw your number line, okay? So the smallest number that we have here is 6, so that's the number I'm gonna put first. And I've gotta go up to my biggest number, which is 13, so I can stop when I get to 13. So I've gotta do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there we go. I could actually stop it right here, okay? Now, even though I may not have a 7 or an 8 up here, I can't skip those numbers because this is a number line, okay? So now what I'm going to do is this time let's use dots to show these points instead. So I'm going to put a dot above each one like so, 12, 11, 10, 12, 10, 6, 12, 13, and 10. There we go. Okay, so I plotted my points. That means I'm good, right? My line graph is, or line plot graph's done. Hopefully you just said no, because what do I have down here? Nothing. That's what I have, is nothing. So I need to have some type of label down here. So these are shoe sizes. All right, so there's my line plot graph. Now, this little guy over here that's way far away from everything else is has a special name. This point right here is known as an outlier. Now, as you see what word is inside of here? Out, because it is so far out away from all the other ones. Meaning that most of my friends have about the same size shoe, but I've got one friend that's like completely different from the rest. So this is what's known as an outlier. This outlier, when you get into statistics, you start getting into middle school math, can really throw off some of your data, some of your points, some of your calculations that you're doing. So a lot of times scientists, mathematicians, they'll just say, let's ignore this outlier, let's ignore this plot, and let's just look at the general area of where things are, okay? So the important part to know right now is that this is known as an outlier. So when something's really far away from the rest, and it could be really far away over here too. Let's say I had 14, 15, 16, 17, and I had somebody who had like a size 17 shoe. This guy is also an outlier because it is so far away from all these other ones. It's a couple numbers away on the number line. So you could have more than one outlier, and it could be far to one side or far to the right or far to the left, depending on the type of data that you are collecting, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna complete an activity where you are going to create your own line plot graph, and then you are also gonna answer some questions about it. Like, for example, do we have an outlier on this graph? Yeah, 6 and 17 in this case would be our outlier. If I asked you how many people had the shoe size of 10, you would tell me 1, 2, 3. There are 3 people. So what you're going to do is you're going to create one, and then you're going to answer some questions about it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, and I will help you through it as best as I can. Have fun making a line plot graph today.